हरिः ॐ सर्वगुरुभ्यो नमः। गणानां त्वा गणपतिगं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम्। ॐ श्रीमहागणपतये नमः. Ganesha by state, so it is appropriate. Ganesha Gauri Haba. न्यस्तात्मीयपरं वरप्रदगुरौ वैराग्यभाग्यो ददौ वेदान्तामृतसारवन्तमनघा श्रीश्रीनिवासाद्गुरोः श्रीशैलान्वयकौस्तुभस्य तनयं श्रेयो निधे श्रीनिधेः वन्दे साधुकटाक्षकेलिनिलयं श्रीकृष्णसद्देशिकम्। गीतासु गीता कर्तव्या किमन्यैः शास्त्रविस्तरैः या स्वयं पद्मनाभस्य मुखपद्मात् विनिसृता। मलनिर्मोचनं पुंसां जलस्नानं दिने दिने सकृद्गीताम्बसि स्नानं संसारमलनाशनम्. So we had left here last class. Sarvani Indriya Karmani Prana Karmani Chapare Atma Sanyama Yogagno Juhvati Gnanadipite. This person illuminated by the wisdom of light of wisdom is complete control. Anything we do is by our sarvendriyas, that is karmendriya and gnanendriyas and vital breath, prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana. This person has control of all those things, and control means is not doing extremity of any of those things, but it's all focused to the supreme. So everything this person does has is aimed at the supreme for a higher purpose. Everything is dedicated to the supreme. Any action, everything this person does, when you are invoking that kind of a mindset, obviously there is nothing bad can come out of you. Dravya yajna, tapo yajna, yoga yajna, statha pare, swadhyaya yajnaya yajnascha, yatayas sanshita vrataha. Is another kind of yogis, yajna. Dravya yajna is material. Some aspirants offer materials. Materials could be any kind of money or help, material help, and offer their wealth. Some of them offer their yoga expertise, and some others offer austerities. That means any kind of austerities they undergo, that itself is their yajna. Offer means that is their yajna, being a austeric life. And others offer learning. Swadhyaya yajnaya yajnascha. Whatever the learning itself is a yajna. Then after having learned that, sharing with others is also yajna. What is it? In the Dravya yajna, you have to remember that material help, it has to be done sincerely, giving the best we can give, and not to compete anything, to someone which is useful. Gita itself talks about in later chapter what is considered sattvika dana. It is not to cover up somebody or cover up some blunder you did. That is not exactly dravya yajna. Although it may be better than paying off someone than getting them killed, but still it is not dravya yajna. A lot of people involved in do a lot of corrupt activities and give a gold or diamond crown to Balaji in Tirupati, but it's still not so bad. But it is um, it's funny in our temple. So some people are involved, and someone was telling that this person who is very active is actually very does all sorts of um, criminal things. He's not a very straight person. Um, but still, it's okay. I said a lot of people, a lot of criminals are there. Not necessarily they will have to build a temple or anything like that. Still, it's not bad. But here, the Dravya Yajna is basically you give to the needy material help, money, any of them like that. Do it uh, in a very with great humility. You don't do it in arrogance. You look at the other person whom you are helping is just like you. Just you should be grateful that you are able to help that person. Um, this is true for helping with money and helping with assistance. Uh, when I came to States 1978, first 6 months we didn't have car. My friend, a good friend from almost 6, 7 years before that, he was giving us ride, uh, but he was doing it grudgingly. At that time, gas price was only 59 cents a gallon, but still he was telling how much gas you are spending, and he was helping, but grudgingly he was helping. In 79, we had that 78 November, we had the Thanksgiving party. Our department head said that they used to call me Shri. Shri, you don't have car. Can I pick you up? You may need a ride. He was living quite far off from the Baylor College of Medicine, Texas Medical Center. He said, I can come and pick you up, or my son can come and pick you up. But my friend was saying, no, don't worry, I will bring Shri, he said. Then while you are going, it's a quite almost 20 to 30 mile distance in Houston traffic, lot of stalling. Every time car starts, he would say, hey, please put 25 cents quarter in this here. Put a little hundi. Put 25 cents whenever the car is stalling. Because when car stalls, there is a lot of gas is wasted. So that is not Dravya Yajna. It is I won't consider that Dravya Yajna. I still remember. Probably if you had given me right smoothly, I would not have remembered. Anyway, so that kind is so that is not yoga yajna is a some people follow that as yajna and teach other people. And same way Swadhyaya. Actually, Taittiriya Upanishad says Hriyadeyam Shriyadeyam or Samvidadeyam. You should give in humility. You should give in plenty. Plenty means to whatever your ability, not to show off, not to compete. Same way yoga, people who uh, practice that as a yajna and also offer that to other people, help them. Swadhyaya pravachanabhyana pramatitavyam is a Upanishad statement. Should self-study as well as discuss that. That means spread it. So that's also part of ordain in the Taittiriya Upanishad. So these are all different kinds of yajna. These are all the people, they are the true ascetics. They are all these people. There is no discrimination. So dravya yajna, stapo yajna.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah,
Dravya
thank you.
yajna, tapo yajna,
Yoga yajna statha pare.
yoga yajna, tatha pare,
Swadhyaya gnana yajnascha
swadhyaya jnana yajnascha,
yataya sanshita vrataha.
yatayah samshitavrataha.
Next is another kind here. Apane juhvati pranam prane pana tatha pare pranayama gati ruddva pranayama parayanaha. These people basically used to control the breath itself. The breathing itself is yoga for them. That itself they bring it to a higher purpose. Apane juhvati pranam prane panam tatha pare. This is basically inhalation and exhalation. They slowly engage in the art of breathing. We all breathe, but these are engaged in the art of breathing. They regulate inward and outward breaths and offer that inward breath to the outward breath and vice versa. So in other words, they are focusing on the breath itself. Uh, like when they say when we breathe, taking in inhalation is rechaka, then letting go is puraka, then kumbhaka is what we fold in between. So they're basically focusing the breath itself as their yajna. Every one of us breathe, that's true, but they use this to soothe their mind. That's how they practice this kind of yoga. Even when we are very, very upset or anything, people say, take a deep breath. Most of the time, we are not taking a deep breath. Of course, we are all breathing till the last breath, but we are not really paying any attention to breath. Only when we have problem with our air passage, then we get disturbed and then we think about that. So, but these are all the people who focus uh, on the inhalation and exhalation itself. Uh, they use that to elevate themselves, uh, energize themselves, their mind to a higher level. It's just like, think of it like water is flowing and wind is blowing. But if you put a windmill, the same wind can generate some power, energize it. And likewise, put a little wheel in a running water, you can make that wheel to turn, and that can be used to generate electricity. Like here, they're using the breath itself to elevate themselves, elevate their mind to a higher state. Apane juhvati pranam,
अपाने जुह्वति प्राणं
prane pane, prane panam tatha pare,
प्राणे अपानं तथा परे
pranapa, pranapanagatiridva,
प्राणापानगतिरुद्ध्वा
pranapana means prana apana, gatiridva, pranayama parayanaha.
प्राणायाम परायणाः.
Pranayama is uh, when we control all these things, it's pranayama, it's a niyama. Yama. And one of the important parts in Sandhya Vandana is pranayama. There are many places where you're supposed to do pranayama. When we do all those, even if they're not always like these yogis, always focusing on breath, at least when we do pranayama, we are supposed to focus, inhale the breath. Like usually we inhale it through the right nostril, hold the left nostril like this, and take it through, inhale, and then hold the breath. It helps us to hold the breath kumbhaka in a quite some time if we are thinking of some mantra. So always say in pranayama, it's Om Bhu Om Bhuva Om Suva Om Maha Om Jana Om Tapa Om Satyam Om Tatsaviturvara Enyam Bargo Devi Sati Mahidi Yoyona Prachodayato Mapo Jyotirasam Amritam Brahma Bhuvaswarom. This much you are supposed to think in your mind. Then it takes about 15 seconds actually. So you are holding the breath for 15 seconds. Only when we do that, we can do that. Otherwise, we are not holding the breath that long. So it's just a practice. It's supposed to make us elevate us, feel us good. But these people are always doing that. I think Kabir Das or somebody, maybe Kabir Das only said that why do we need any rosary beads or anything to keep counting? Can't keep count our meditation. We can just use our inhalation, exhalation, which is already in us. Use that for the count. That itself should work. अपरे नियताहाराः प्राणान् प्राणेषु जुह्वति सर्वेप्येते यज्ञविदो यज्ञक्षपितकल्मषाः. Some people regulate how much food they consume, um, restrict their diet, and after their inhalation to their inhalations. Pranan praneshu juhvati. In other words, they are reducing everything. Therefore, overall under control. Um, then all these people, they all know the way of yajna, and their sins are cleansed by doing yajna. Sins are cleansed means there is basically uh, their mind are clear. There is no bondage for them. So this is uh, it's always said that we should have moderation in everything you do. That is one of the yajnas, being a moderate uh, in everything we do, in eating and sleeping, everything like that. So this is these people regulate the food intake. Apare niyataharaha
अपरे नियताराः
pranan praneshu juhvati
प्राणान् प्राणेषु जुह्वति
sarve yagnavido
सर्वेऽप्येते यज्ञोविदो
yagna kalmashaha
यज्ञक्षपितकल्मषाः
यज्ञशिष्टामृतभुजो यान्ति ब्रह्म सनातनं नायं लोकोऽस्त्व यज्ञस्य कुतयन्य कुरु सत्तमा. It says that by relishing, by doing everything in the spirit of yajna, remnant of this is for that means after you follow this like a remnant of yajna. That's what you are enjoying. Okay. Releasing the remnant of yajna, that is like, which is like an elixir, amritam. Uh, they attain the eternal Brahman. They feel liberation. They feel a state of mind, a liberated state of mind. For people who are not like that, Nayam Lokaha Asti Iti. For people who are not Ayam Lokaha Asti, Ayagnasya. No, it's a very complicated sandhi here. Basically, it is Na Ayam Lokaha Asti Ayagnasya. Nayam Lokaha Asti Ayagnasya. One who is not doing yagna. For that a person, Kuru Sattama is of course Arjuna. So for such a person, how can they enter the other world? Let alone this world, Nayam, not this loka, na iyam loka, neither here, not the other world. They are basically, how can they enter they have nothing, they don't perform, unfit even for this world itself. When you are unfit for this world itself, how can you be fit for anything better, right? So, some people devote their life doing what they love without worrying about any rewards. One must pursue at least something, even if you cannot do everything, some activities with the spirit of yajna. Otherwise, life will be dull and mechanical. So dullness never leads to perfection or happiness. Yagnashishta amrita bhujau
यज्ञशिष्टा अमृतभुजो
yanti brahma sanatanam
यान्ति ब्रह्म सनातनम्
nayam lokostya yagnasya
नायं लोकोऽत्ययस्य
lokostya yagnasya kutonya kuru sattama.
कुतोऽन्यः कुरु सत्तम.
So neither here nor there. They can have, they're unfit for, they're unfit, saying basically. Evam bahuvidha yagnaha vitata brahmano mukhe karmajan vidditan sarvan evam gnatva vimokshase. All these different kinds of yagnas described here, they are all from vitata brahmano mukhe means these are all in the Vedas. Veda is also Brahma. These are arising from the Supreme. You can think of it both ways. All karmas are arising from the Supreme. So all the Vedas. So the person are rooted in action. Karmajan Vidhi. All these are all rooted in the action. Know that they are all Tan Sarvan Karmajan Vidhi. Know that every one of them are involved in action. Know this, you will be free. In other words, when you realize that every action you do as a supreme source, that's where it came from, and you do it with a sense of yajna, then you are not bound by it. Any action you do in that sense, vimoksha means you are liberated from that. It's not a bondage for you. Anything you do is not a bondage. Everything you do will be a play for you, will be a game. Evam bahuvidha yajnaha
एवं बहुविधा यज्ञाः
vitata brahmano mukhe
वितता ब्रह्मणो मुखे
karmajan vidditan sarvan
कर्म कर्मजान् विद्धितास्
tan sarvan
विद्धितान् सर्व
evam natva vimokshase.
एवं ज्ञात्वा विमोक्ष्यसे.
Then he talks about different level, different grading of the yajnas here. Shreyan dravyamaya yagnat nana yagna parantapa sarvam karma kilam partha nane parisamapyate. We state that Gnana Yagna is superior. Shreya Dravyamaya Yagna. Gnana Yagna, on any material kind of Yagna, compared to the Gnana Yagna is superior. Shreyan, Parantapa is Arjuna, of course. Because why? Sarvang karma akhilam partha. At the end, all actions, gnane parisamapyate. They result in knowledge. They lead us to knowledge. The fulfillment only in knowledge. All actions find their fulfillment in knowledge. That is what we call as experience, right? When you say some person is experienced, compared to a person who just started something, because both started out with the same training, but the one who has spent many years with it has gained a lot of experience, which is knowledge by action. This we learn when we're dealing with something also, when we even in social work, even in voluntary work, when you keep doing things, all actions need to knowledge. You understand, for better or worse, you learn a lot of things. Um, any action we do, final result is knowledge. Shreyan Sarvamayat Yagnat.
Sevam.
You just listen to me. Don't worry too much about what is there, because the way it is written is slightly different.
Yeah.
Make it as a shruti. Shreyan Dravyamayat Yagnat.
Sevam Dravyamayan Jnat.
Gnana Yagna Parantapa.
Jnanayajna Parantapa.
Sarvam Karmakhilam Partha.
Sarvam Karma Khilam Partha.
Gnane Parisamapyate.
Jnane Parisamapyate.
Yes, sometimes you will see some discrepancy in what I say and what is here.
Hmm.
So everything leads to, all actions lead to knowledge. Some people call this chapter as not Gnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. They call it as Gnana Yoga itself. There is no Gnana Yoga in, of course, there is Sankhya Yoga, but there is no Gnana Yoga. Some people call this chapter as Gnana Yoga. Tadvidhi. Now, where do you get that kind of knowledge? Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te gnanam gnaninaha tattva darshinaha. So that you can learn uh, by pranipatena, by prostrating, falling before, uh, and with whom? From someone who know gnaninaha, who are aware of the knowledge, and tattva darshinaha, who are aware of that, approach them, learn that with them by prostrating, falling before them, then also asking them pariprashnena, asking them question to understand, sevaya, also serving them. When you do that, upadekshantite gnanam, and they give you instruction, you get the wisdom from them. People who have realized, approach the realized people uh, uh, in a humble way. That means with humility. By in our culture, humility means you do sashtanga pranamam. You fall before them like a uh, uh, touching your 8 limbs, and then uh, offer service to them. That means you stay with them and ask them question, not to show how smart you are, but to understand or to feedback, to make sure that you learned what they taught. Uh, that's the way to knowledge. So learn that knowledge from those who have realized the truth, Tattva Darshinaha. Approach them with a spirit of sincere inquiry and serve them with humility. They will impart that knowledge to you. Uh, it's a sevaya. The reason is the idea in the ancient system, students used to stay with the guru in the Gurukula, or they will stay with the family. They stay with the guru. A lot of time when you stay with them, they are not teaching you all the time you are staying there. They are giving you instruction for some time. Then you are just helping them, running around doing things for them. Then you see how they behave. Uh, they are not just preaching and teaching. How they deal with little things that comes in life. How they negotiate with the vegetable vendor who comes there. How they behave. Even simple things how they do. That basically reflects their actual uh, full personality. That's how you. That's where you can watch them how they behave in different circumstances. not just when they were teaching you something. So that is very important. Sometimes even when someone went with a, not necessarily with a sincere inquiry, even someone who went with not a sincere inquiry became uh, converted into Swami Chinmayananda, right? The case, he was I'm told that he was a journalist and he never believed in any of these things. Then he approached someone just to went to interview that person, query that person just to say, is there anything worthwhile? Then he ended up getting convinced and he himself became a teacher. He himself became a Tattvadarshi. Tadvidhi pranipatena
तद्विद्धि प्रणिपातेन
परिप्रश्नेन सेवया
परिप्रश्नेन सेवया
उपदेक्ष्यन्ति ये उपदेक्ष्यन्ति ते ज्ञानम्
उपदेक्षन्ति ते ज्ञानम्
ज्ञानिनस्तत्त्वदर्शिनः.
ज्ञानिनस्तत्त्वदर्शिनः.
यत्नात्वा न पुनर्मोहम् एवं यास्यसि पाण्डव येन भूतान्यशेषेण आत्मन्मयो द्रक्ष्यस्यात्मन्यथो मयि द्रक्ष्यस्यात्मन्यथो मयि. So one Ignatva, one who realized that, Ignatva, after getting that, you will never be under delusion, Punarmoham. Pandava Arjuna, you will never have confusion again. Having learned it, you will never be deluded again. Punarmoham. Then you realize that you will perceive all beings in yourself and in me. You see, uh, all beings in other words, you realize the oneness, uh, ultimate oneness. You realize that um, yena bhutan yasheshena, all of them without any residue, everything you see, um, all beings, you see, all beings are in the Supreme, and yourself are they are in you also and in me. So we are all, you see the oneness of existence. This is kind of, this last line is too much there. So drakshasi atmani ataha mayi. Drakshasi atmani ataha mayi. That is what makes it, you will see in yourself atmani ataha also mayi, in me. You see in yourself and also in me. Yatnatvan punarmoham
यज्ञात्वा न पुनर्मोहम्
evam vyasyasi pandava
एवं यास्यसि पाण्डव
yena bhutanyasheshena.
येन भूतान्यशेषेण
Bhutani asheshena, bhutanyasheshena, draksasyatmanyatho mayi.
द्रक्ष्यस्यात्मन्यो मयि
Draksasyatmanyatho mayi. Atmanyatho mayi. Api chedasi papebhyah sarvebhya papakrittamah sarvagnana plavenaiva rijinam santarishyasi. Even even if you are a grave sinner, api chedasi papebhya, even if you are the gravest sinner, uh, papa kritamaha, but still, you will cross the ocean of sin uh, with the raft of knowledge. This is the raft of knowledge, knowing this what was taught all this time, the raft of knowledge. So knowledge cleanses you. Knowledge is the greatest purifier. That's what it is. That even if you are the greatest sinner, once you get that knowledge, you are purified by the knowledge. Even if you are the gravest sister, api means even chedasi papebhya, sarvebhya papakritama, all people, if you are the gravest of the sinners, you will cross the ocean of sin. Sarvam gnana plavenaiva, urijinam santarishyati. You will be freed from the sin. Api chedasi papebhya
अपि चेदसि पापेभ्यः
सर्वेभ्यः पापकृत्तमः
सर्वेभ्यः पापकृत्तमः
सर्वं सर्वं ज्ञानप्लवेनैव
सर्वं ज्ञानप्लवेनैव
वृजिनं सन्तरिष्यसि.
वृजिनं ऋष्यसि.
So how it happens, he says here, Etaidansi samidhognihi pasmasat kurute arjuna gnanagni sarvakarmani pasmasat kurute tata. Uses the yagna as analogy of a yagna that was quite common during those time, yagna. Using the yagna analogy here, he says, just as the blazing fire um, reduces firewood to ashes. So, Samit is what they were like. Samit is the blazing, is the firewood. It reduces to ashes. The fire of knowledge reduces all karma to ashes. Um, Itai tamsi samidagni pasmasat kurite arjuna. Just like the blazing fire reduces fire to ashes. This is yes, fire is very commonly used for reducing burning anything because these are all coming from our Agnihi, Mide, Purohitam. We always say fire. It's funny when I was when I was in Central College, we had all done standard graph or something in biochemistry lab, and our uh, uh, our professor came and we were all showing our graph. Then one of the girls' graph, he looked at it and he said, "Benki hakbidi." It means it is so bad. Put it in the fire. He said. I kind of I kind of laughed at her. Then she said, "You are a Brahmin, so you want to put everything in fire." He kind of associated me with fire. But kind of funny. I didn't think like that, but I think she belonged to Golla community, I think. When he said, ಬೆಂಕಿಗೆ ಹಾಕಬೇಕು ಅಂತ, he said, put it in the fire. She said, like that. He looked at me. So just like the fire, blazing fire reduces, uh, fire reduces wood to ashes, firewood to ashes. Just like that, the fire of knowledge reduces karma to ashes. So comparing karma to the wood and knowledge to the fire. यथैनांसि समिद्धोऽग्निः
यथैधांसि समिद्धोऽग्निः
भस्मसात् कुरुते अर्जुन
भस्मसात् कुरुते अर्जुन
ज्ञानाग्नि सर्वकर्माणि
ज्ञानाग्निः सर्वकर्माणि
भस्मसात् कुरुते तथा.
भस्मसात् कुरुते तथा.
So the fire of knowledge will burn the karma to ashes. Gives for more value for the gnana. Nahi gnanena sadrisham pavitramiha vidyate tatsvayam yoga samsiddha kalenatmani vindati. He says there is nothing in this world, iha in this world, which is greater purifier than knowledge. Nahi gnanena sadrisham pavitram iha vidyate. That one who reaches perfection by yoga, will eventually find it within oneself. A realized person obviously is finding the knowledge within himself. So nothing is as pure as knowledge in this world. One who reaches perfection in yoga, yoga samsiddhaha, swayam, that one, that Nana, he finds in oneself in due course. Kalena Atmani Vindati. Eventually find it within. Nahi Gnanena Sadrisham
नहि ज्ञानेन सदृशं
Pavitramiha Vidyate
पवित्रमिह विद्यते
Tatsvayam Yoga Samsiddha
तत्स्वयं योगसंसिद्धः
Kalena Atmani Vindati.
कालेनात्मनि विन्दति.
So, gnanam is a requirement. Shraddhavan labhate gnanam tatpara sanyatendriya gnanam labdva paran shantim achire nadhigacchati. Of course, Shraddha is important for everything. Shraddha hi paramagatihi, right? Shraddhavan, one person, a sincere person who seeks knowledge, gains knowledge. How to focus and mastery. Tatparaha Sanyatendriya, by practice and mastery of senses. And mastery of senses, you have to focus on learning sincerely. Once Gnanam Labdva, once that person acquires the knowledge, he soon attains supreme peace. Achirenadi Gachati. There is no more confusion in that person. So when you don't have confusion, you have peace. It is Shraddhavan Labhate Gnanam
श्रद्धावान् लभते ज्ञानं
Tatpara Sanyatendriya
तत्पर संयतेन्द्रियः.
Gnanam labdva param shantim
ज्ञानं लब्ध्वा परां शान्तिम्
achirenadi gacchati.
अचिरेणाधिगच्छति.
Yeah. Once you realize, he soon gets it. It doesn't take. So then, if you don't do that, if you are not in that state, what happens? Agnascha ashraddhadanascha sanshayatma vinashyati nayam lokostina paro nasukam samshayatmanaha. One who is opposite of that, agnascha, person is ignorant and not insincere, opposite of that, and indecisive. Um, so samshayatma is indecisive, is lost in this world. One who is ignorant, insincere, and indecisive is destroyed, vinashyati. One who remains hesitant and confused finds no happiness. Nayam lokostina paro nasukam samshayatmana. Someone who is always in samshaya, that means indecisive and always doubting. For such a person, na ayam loka asti na paro. Neither in this world, not in the other world, this person will have any happiness. Na sukam. There is no happiness for that person. Samshaya Pishachi, we call in Kannada. If someone has lot of doubt, called Samshaya Pishachi. That is like a devil in us. So it is it's good to have some doubt, but if you clarify it very quickly, we should not live in doubt all the time. Always indecisive, always in doubt. Even a simple example, like you took off, you're leaving to India, then you ask, did I close the garage door? In the airport, did I close the garage door? Uh, your wife will say, you're always, when you're in a hurry, you're not doing well. I don't think you closed it. Then what do? You are in a flight. You're catching the flight. And then let's call our neighbor to make sure our garage door is closed. You call from India or wherever. Then that person says your garage, oh, we can't trust that fellow. He might not have even looked and just said to satisfy us it's closed. So like that, you live full 30 days in India in Samshaya. It is such a terrible thing. So we should always, that's the danger of living in doubt. Samshayatma vinashyati. Agnascha ashraddhadanascha
अज्ञश्च श्रद्धज्ञानश्च
sanshayatma vinashyati.
संशयात्मा विनश्यति.
Nayam lokostina paro
नायं लोको अस्ति न परो
nasukam samshayatmanaha.
न सुखं संशयात्मनः.
There's some fight. It should not be always doubting everything. Okay, samshaya pishachis. Yoga sanyasta karmanam nana sanchinna samshayam atmavantan na karmani nibadnanti dhananjaya. The person, do not bind a person for a yogi, yoga sannyasta karmanam, for such a person, uh, actions do not bind that person, even if that person is fully acting, engages in yoga with clear understanding. No, because Nanasin Chinna Samsham, he has no indecisiveness. He has shattered all his doubts. For that person, uh, actions do not bind. Atmavanta and is always watchful. That person is watchful of himself. That means not to sway away from the yoga. Atmavantam na karmani, always watchful over himself. For a person, nibadnanti dhananjaya. There is no kind of attachment, no bondage for that person. So action do not bind that person who engages in yoga with clear understanding, always watchful over himself. You're understanding, but you have to make sure that you don't stray away from your understanding. Sometimes we doubt our own understanding. So, yoga sanyasta karmanam,
योगसन्न्यस्तकर्माणं
danasan chinna samshayam,
ज्ञानसं छिन्न संशयम्
atmavantam na karmani,
आत्मवन्तं न कर्माणि
nibadnanti dhananjaya.
निबध्नन्ति धनञ्जय.
Yeah, this is yoga sanyasta karma. One who has renounced action by yoga, that kind of person. With all his doubts, non-assent, chinna samsaya, all his doubts are shattered. Such a person, nothing, nothing binds that person. Tasmad agnana sambhutam krishnam nanasinatmanah chitvainam samshayam yogam attishto tishta bharata. He says that the sword of wisdom, tasmad agnana sambhutam krishnam chitvainam. So with the sword of wisdom, cut through this doubt born of ignorance. Ignorance and it's hiding in your heart. That is what in the addressing Arjuna, like he has this kind of doubt whether to engage in battle or not. That with the sword of wisdom, cut through the doubt arising in your heart, in your arise Arjuna and resort to yoga. Attishto tishta bharata, chitvainam samshayam yogam, attishto tishta bharata. So therefore, what has come out of gnanam, uh, clear that with knowledge, cut that with knowledge and arise and establish yourself in yoga. Basically, you participate uh, in this battle going on as a yoga. Tasmat agnana sambhutam
तस्मात् अज्ञानसम्भूतं
hitstham nanasinatmanah
हृत्स्थं ज्ञानासिनात्मना
atmanah chitvainam samshayam yogam
चित्वैनं संशयं योगम्
attishtottishta bharata.
आत्तिष्ठोत्तिष्ठ भारत.
Gnana sambhutam hristham gnana. Gnana asina atmana. Gnana asina atmana. That's a gnana asina atmana. This concludes this yoga. Om sadit tatsaditi
ॐ सदि तत्सदिति
Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishatsu
श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु
Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre
ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे
Sri Krishnarjuna Samvade
श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे
Gnana Karma Sannyasa Yogo Nama
ज्ञानकर्मसन्न्यासयोगो नाम
Chaturtho Dhyayaha.
चतुर्थोऽध्यायः.
Actually, maybe Asamshaya Yogo Nama also very good name for this chapter. Yeah, we have some 10 minutes left. Any feedback from Hari? Hari can give us some highlight of this chapter. Is Hari there? He's not
Uh,
there. Okay. If
Hari is
anybody has any,
absent, sir, today.
yeah. Okay. Well, the essential things in this chapter, of course, it talks about the antiquity of the message. Um, it is not something new. It started from the Vaivasvata itself, even that was not the first time. And it was all transmitted by philosopher kings. That is interesting to know that uh, in ancient India, they always convert the king. They make a king, a Shaivite or a Vaishnavite, the whole kingdom will become that. So kings have a lot of influence. So having philosopher king Rajarshis uh, can do wonders. Um, just like Greeks were saying, philosophers are the best one to rule. So all this transmission was through philosopher kings. It also gives the essence of avatara, this chapter, that is very unique to Hindu Sanatana Dharma. This avatara concept, although avatara is happening in everywhere, every time, Sambhavami Yuge Yuge is happening, but it is not recognized as avatara. Only through the vision of Sanatana Dharma, we can see the avatars happening. Actually, if someone dresses in a awkwardly or a funny way, also we call them an avatara like that. So avatara is happening all the time, but it's not recognized and identified here. Uh, it also talks about how there can be stillness in action. So when we have no personal agenda, we act in a spirit of yajna. Even though if you are fully engaged, it is as though we are not doing anything. So then of course, it talked about karma, vikarma. It mentioned, but actually it only talked about different kinds of karma, different kind how we of yajnas. All of this basically you can use anything as per our uh, taste, attitude, and aptitudes. So we talked about that's where the Chaturvarnya it said, right? The um, everyone is endowed with certain set of uh, whatever they are tuned to, pre inherently tuned to do some things very easily. So that is what the concept of Chaturvarnya. Anyway, that part we'll discuss it later in 18th chapter. And we did talk out about Vikarma uh, but actually there was nothing mentioned about Vikarma. Only we had to take refuge in Dr. Gundappa to understand that, what Vikarma meant. So I think that's different kinds of yajnas it talks about. Basically, the summary is anything we do it as a yajna, work as worship. In other words, bringing a higher purpose to anything you do, uh, then you are not bound by it. That is liberation. That's the summary. Any question anybody has?
You're talking about karma yoga, right? How many types of yogas are there? Karma yoga, jnana yoga, and what else are there?
Well, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and we also have with later, some people say, of course, Bhakti Yoga is there. Uh, uh, in the uh, Bhagavad Gita is the first time it explicitly talks about Bhakti Yoga and also Sharanagati Yoga.
Hmm.
Yoga is basically whatever you use to connect. Yoga is to connect to something good. Um, Vishada is also yoga, but it's not something to good. Yoga is so basic yogas in our system is karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga. The people usually say three, but Sharanagati is also one of the yogas. We'll talk about it when it comes. In fact, in some systems, if you are a Sri Vaishnava, like followers of Ramanujacharya, he says the only path is all the others are not the only Sharanagati is the path for liberation. So they reduced all the other yogas into just one, depending on it. I think Shankaracharya was giving more value to Gnana Yoga, and Ramanujacharya was giving more value to Sharanagati Yoga. In fact, all of them, all these Sri Vaishnava leaders, they all say that I'm incapable of bhakti, I'm incapable of gnana, I'm incapable of karma. I will just surrender myself to you, like that.
Hmm.
It depends on it's basically up to us. I think my own feeling is I think Krishna's emphasis is more on karma yoga. I think, um, yeah, because that is something we always have to do. So we may do it as a yoga. Whatever we are doing, uh, just make it a yoga.
Hmm.
All are there. Yeah. Some people say Dhyana Yoga, Raja Yoga. Also there, Vivekananda talked about Raja Yoga. Um,
Until retirement, at least, karma yoga will be the best.
yeah, for as karma is inevitable, karma yoga is something uh, you can convert karma into karma yoga.
Hmm.
So,
Sir, I have a question.
yeah.
This is um, so regarding Shashtang Namaskar you talked about today. So is it true? I heard from somebody that women are not supposed to do Shashtang Namaskara.
Well, women do not do Sastanga Namaskaram, right? Um, I have not seen any woman doing it. Little girls do. I've seen that little. Uh, my
Oh,
granddaughter does. Yeah.
okay. So, but we are not supposed to do. Is that what it is?
I don't know. I have not seen anybody doing it except young children. Most
Okay.
women do. Most women do it more like the Muslims, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Because I do, I do it sometimes. So that's why I'm asking that
No,
is
you
it
can do
wrong
it.
to?
You can do
Okay.
it. You
Okay.
can do
Okay.
it. Yeah, that's not an issue. It's just a practice. That's all.
Hmm.
Somehow you can do it. It's nothing.
Okay.
Even
Okay.
here, he said pranipate, and not necessarily you fall in front of them. He never said sastanga. I just added words into Krishna's mouth. He
Hmm.
just said pranipatena, you fall in front,
Okay. Okay.
That's all. It
Okay.
means your humility. It's literally humility. That's all.
That's
Yeah,
exactly, yeah. Only with that
exactly.
feeling I do
Yeah,
it. Like I've
yeah,
like I've done my arpan to you, right? So everything is gone. Yeah. Okay.
exactly. It's
Thank
being
you.
humble, approaching
Yes.
with humility, even just touching the feet or standing, bowing down a little bit like that,
Hmm.
like they do in the Japanese culture.
Hmm.
Uh, they bow down beautifully. All the showing humility. That's all.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Is it in Jainism they don't do this namaskar? Or
I don't know. I'm not sure.
it's from the hearsay. I have not read or anything. My daughter-in-law's mother is Jain,
They don't
and
do.
that's what she said. I have never got a chance to look into it. But
Mhm.
my daughter-in-law, when in the part of wedding and all, she listened to the priest. But in general, just her mom was discussing with me like we generally don't do women not. I don't know about men. So I was
Jains,
just curious. Yeah.
every Jain I have seen, they are naturally very humble, very high humility.
Right, right, yeah.
They don't
When I
have to
say
do namaskar.
namaskar
They
means
don't
like
have to do namaskaram, I think. They're naturally
no,
very humble people. Yeah.
she does do some kind of prayer that during the Diwali she does it uh, with us with my son. He's married only for not yet 2 years. Just I
I have
didn't get
not
a
paid
chance to look
attention.
into
Maybe
that.
maybe next time I will pay attention. We do have Mahavira deity in our temple. I was involved in Mahavira Pratisthapana also. I want to see whether they do. At the end, we all do. At the end of the temple worship, we all do prostrate in front of the altar.
Right.
Next time, I will pay attention. See. Um,
But my daughter-in-law does do when she has to take blessings from elders and stuff like that. She did it, but we were just chatting. So that time
We have Hari's mom, Hema Madam Namaskara. You want to share anything
Namaskara.
with us?
No. Regarding the
uh,
Sashtanga Namaskara,
yeah.
I think it's okay if ladies do, because ಈಗ ಉರುಳು ಸೇವೆ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ
Yeah, that's
ಬೇಡ್ಕೊಂಡು.
right.
ಉರುಳು ಸೇವೆ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಅವರು ಸಾಷ್ಟಾಂಗ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡೇ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ.
Yeah.
It's like more a practice, and I think it can be done, should not be done ಗಿಂತ whoever can they do, but it's a practice. Especially ಉರುಳು ಸೇವೆ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಹಾಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ನೋಡಿರೋದು ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
Yeah, that's good point, Hema. Yeah,
That is a
actually,
good point.
Ural Seva is done mostly by women only. At least in the TV shows I have seen, most of the Ural Sevas are done by women only.
Yeah.
That is good point. Yeah.
Can I ask you for
Thank
a
you very much.
clarification?
Enjoying all the sessions. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Hema. It's all because of your son. You must
Oh
be
no.
proud of him. Yeah.
Always nice to have such son.
Left to Talakad people, nothing will happen.
Halsur also pitched in. That's okay. Thank you.
Okay,
We are at time.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
I had a